Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you to each of our nominees for your willingness to serve our great nation. And I want to also thank your families as well, because we know that this is a sacrifice for them as well as you work on behalf of our country. So thank you for being here. A recent UN report revealed that Iran now holds enough 60% enriched uranium to produce 6 nuclear weapons. And Iran has no plans to slow production. This not only threatens the U.S. and Israel's security, but global security at large. For years, Iran has been in continuous violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2231 that it was endorsed the JCPOA. I commend President Trump for swiftly reinstating maximum pressure on Iran, which directed the next UN ambassador to work with the E3 on the snapback UN sanctions on Iran. This would reimpose fully the panoply of UN sanctions previously levied on Iran. All UN member states would legally be required to implement these sanctions. While the authority to snap back expires October 18th, the real deadline is much sooner due to the length of time for the process to play out. The need to conduct the snapback under favorable UN Security Council leadership and the role of the snapback in the upcoming negotiations with Iran. Ms. Hooker, I recently introduced a resolution with 18 co-sponsors calling for the E3 to initiate snapback as soon as possible, rather than wait until June to snap back, as the E3 has indicated it will do. I believe snapping back sanctions now will allow the West to deal with Tehran from the strongest possible position. Do you agree with that?
Thank you, Senator, for your question and for your interest in the matter. If confirmed, I look forward to learning more about where the administration is in implementing maximum pressure, which the President has stated will be necessary to implement towards Iran. And I look forward to using diplomacy to ensure that our allies and partners around the world will be implementing maximum pressure as well.
Great, thanks. Last year, Swedish Prime Minister Kristersson said something I thought was very apt. He said, if we want the U.S. to be committed to Europe, we need to realize that the U.S. has other concerns as well. Ms. Hooker, what signal do you believe stronger pressure from other European allies against the Iranian regime would send to President Trump? Do you believe it would help strengthen transatlantic ties?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. Maximum pressure is going to be necessary on Iran going forward. And not being in the seat yet, I don't have privy to where we are in those discussions, but if I am confirmed, I look forward to learning more about that and ensuring that we're doing what we can to get our European allies and partners to do their part.
Well, but given that, again, you're not in the seat yet, but what's your feel? Do you think that if we see our European allies actually showing greater resolve toward places like Iran that are outside of Europe, that would help the transatlantic alliance?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. I think cooperation from our European allies would be helpful in signaling, and I look forward to, if confirmed, I look forward to having those conversations.
Yeah. And just to the topic of maximum pressure, under the last Trump administration, Iran's foreign reserves fell from about $122.5 billion to less than $14 billion because of those sanctions. And that's the kind of results we need to see this time around as well from the maximum pressure, by making sure that Iran's not got the money to be able to support the terrorism they've done around the world. In 2017, after the Quad revival under President Trump, China's foreign minister dismissed it as a sea of foam in the ocean. And yet 8 years later, Secretary Rubio's on his first official day, he met with our Quad counterparts, illustrating the group's continued importance. Under the Biden administration, the Quad grew from senior-level security dialogue to leader-level summits. However, summit agendas also grew with an ever-expanding list of initiatives and working groups, but not necessarily no clear priorities. So, as co-chair of the Senate Quad Caucus with Senator Duckworth, I was pleased the January joint statement clearly and succinctly emphasized security cooperation, while also indirectly calling out Communist China's malign aggression. This bolder posture is critical for the Quad to remain relevant. It also proves the Quad is a force for good and stability in the region. Ms. Hooker, do you believe that the Quad can and should place a greater emphasis on hard security cooperation?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. As you noted, the Quad was revived under President Trump during his first term, and I see it as one of the greatest successes of his first term, is reviving that relationship. If confirmed, I look forward to supporting the President and the Secretary in advancing the work of the Quad across a broad area. I'm not privy to exactly what's being discussed right now, but going forward, if confirmed, I look forward to doing that and happy to be back in touch with the committee on that.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Hooker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I want to ask Mr. Donato, let me ask you some more. I'm sorry.